ready.
Testing.
You got it down.
Here we go, Facebook. Here we go, Spotify. In 5, 4, 3. Here we go. Hey, it's your boy JT for the Day One Sports and Entertainment Podcast. I'm JT, and today, man, it's legendary. Y'all seen Fitzgerald earlier. I brought you 2 more legends, and I'm gonna start it out. I got my man Reggie Muhammad. Man, most of y'all might know him as Reggie Whitehead, but he is Reggie Muhammad, and he is here to tell the story, man. Indianapolis, get ready. Go ahead, man. Introduce yourself.
Peace.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Reggie Muhammad, as Brother JT just said,
Yes.
Also known as Reggie Whitehead. First of all, I wanted to say that thank you
Right.
for
Yes.
inviting us to this program, to you all's podcast. You, Brother Keish, Mighty Bobby Parker,
Yeah.
we are honored, and it's just it's an honor to be remembered. We don't think much about it
Right.
because it was 30-something years ago.
Yeah.
But when I had seen all of the clamor on Facebook,
Yeah.
and I believe that the question was asked in a final second type scenario,
Final seconds of the game.
who are you going to go with?
That's right.
The other JB, Jermaine Ball at that time,
Yeah.
or myself.
Right.
And of course, just to read a lot of the responses,
Yeah.
it was entertaining, and it tickled me.
Right.
But it was I will have to say it was somewhat flattering
Gotcha.
to still be remembered 30-some years later.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I definitely wanted to thank you all, congratulate y'all. Of course, I honor all of you all and look up to my brothers.
Right.
Yes,
Hey, for the record, I got stories about both of them. So last but not least, I'm gonna let my brother introduce himself. Go ahead and tell him who you are, sir.
My name is John Baker.
Yes, sir.
I went to Chatard High School, Tech High School.
Okay. Yeah. Keep going. He ain't gonna say it, I'm gonna tell you. He was one of the highest rated point guards out the city before all this Chris Thomas and all those guys. It was a Johnny Baker. I'm gonna tell you why, because he ain't gonna tell y'all this. So we out in Las Vegas. I'm a young boy. I was on their team.
Mm-hmm.
And there used to be this magazine, a high major, D1 players, mid-major, D1 players. But my brother, he was a high major. So I don't know why Krzyzewski and all these big name coaches is at our game.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look on the high major list, it said John Baker. And that's a true story.
Yes, sir.
I ain't saying that because he here.
Yeah, that's
Lefty.
true.
I didn't even know how big he was until I got out to Las Vegas. True story?
True story.
But it started before then, though.
Well, tell me.
It started way before then. So our freshman year,
Yeah.
John Baker and myself, we was the first freshmen to ever start varsity in Chatard's history. A lot of people don't know that. We came out from that 7th and 8th grade, was all out of Catholic school coming together. But all Catholic school, we all played in the city.
Right.
So everybody's like, well, who is these little young? Because they don't know what they're doing. So like I said, we call a lot of flack, a lot of bullshit.
Yeah.
People's like, oh, they can't play.
Right.
They freshmen don't need to play on varsity like that. So
Yeah.
we was the first freshmen ever in the Chatard history to play varsity. So after our freshman year, there was seniors on the team, people don't know. And the team that really wanted JB was Wake Forest. A lot of people don't know that ACC back then, that was the top of the line right there.
Yeah, no,
So
Tim Duncan there.
that was real talk. They was recruiting him to be his point guard. IU used to come, I was at practice like every week. Every time we had practice, IU was up in there.
Right.
And that's one thing I regret. I should have took my behind to IU, but I didn't know no better, what I knew now. But it is what it is, water on the bridge, but I had to throw it out there because a lot of people don't know that.
All right. Well, look, we got to get it started. So we going to go. Reggie Muhammad, Reggie Whitehead, Pat, get you.
Yeah.
So like I say, you know how everybody emulate Larry Bird or Michael Jordan. I was one of the kids at Tarkington Park. Reggie Whitehead from D. So you know it's real. And anybody watching know I ain't playing. So I'm gonna get
his moves too.
No, hey, say it.
I should take his moves too.
Yeah. Hey, and Don, if you're watching, tell him thank you. Don Mallory, tell Reggie Whitehead, thank you. Hey,
Salute.
So I'm gonna go with my first story. Then I'm gonna let you talk.
Yes, sir.
But
Go ahead.
I always think it's better for the people to tell the story
Yes, sir.
than the man,
I agree.
right?
I certainly agree.
So it was a post on Facebook, Johnny, about when we played Reggie and them. It was a dude named Kamani Hayden. It said, man, you don't remember him in the corner? They hit him with 2 between the legs, 2 behind the backs, and a crossover and pulled up and yammed him. So I'm gonna tell you the scenario. He had 8 points going into the 4th quarter.
Yes, sir.
He ended up with 28. I was a living witness. Rest in peace to Andre Vane.
Much
Rest in
love.
peace.
Yes, sir.
But he was the one. He was the one.
Yeah, you know, Dre can't defend himself, but rest in peace.
No,
Yeah.
I love Dre. He's one of my brothers.
Yeah, these are real stories,
And,
though.
and just to bring his name back to life
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
is what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So Reggie, give us the insight. What made you, because we talked about it earlier, what was the spark that made you do, you know, what you did? Wow.
Well, you know, starting off, it started early.
Okay.
I'll say I was about 5 years old, but I really wasn't big on basketball early.
Okay.
But my cousin, Tracy Williams,
Yes.
you know, he would make us go out there and shovel the court off, you know,
Right.
shovel the snow off in the winter time.
Okay.
And so my introduction to basketball was a little ruthless because, you know, cuz believed in, you know, corporal punishment too. If,
Right.
you know, if you didn't want to go out there and help shovel the snow off.
Right.
So that's where it all started, in the back of Granny's backyard.
Okay.
You know, we used to call it the dunkables or the dust ball.
Yeah.
You know, back then we would run all the grass off the yard. You know, the
Yeah.
yard was completely bare because we would be out there getting it in.
Right.
So that's where it all started, 40th Street.
Yeah.
You
Hey,
know,
tell
that's-
me your neighborhood. I want Indianapolis to know.
Yeah,
like
fuck.
to know how your progression.
Yeah, growing up on 40th Street, you know, we was really big in basketball at that time. We used to
Right.
play up at 42nd Street Park, as well as Tarkington.
Yes.
You know, and if you lost, you know how it was. You had 7 and 8 teams. You were 7 teams down. So if you lost, it was pretty much over with.
Yeah, go home.
It was time to go home.
Go
so
home. Yeah.
it was some fierce battles up there.
Yeah.
But before then, you know, it started with my brothers.
Okay.
You know, and now
Yeah.
you bringing stuff up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother David, he was real athletic,
Right.
but he was one of my biggest naysayers or critics
Okay.
early.
Yeah.
So Big Bro, you know, he sparked a fire in me.
Yeah. I
You
like
know,
that.
because, you know, when they say that you can't,
Yeah.
you want to prove them that you can, right?
Yes, you do.
So he used to always get on me about dribbling fancy, because I would turn the ball over a lot. You know, when you
Right.
experimenting,
Yeah.
you know, but I just was convicted that I was going to get this thing down.
Yeah.
You know, and we had gotten into an argument one time, and he was telling me, well, I told him, I said, I'm going to play varsity as a freshman.
Right.
He said, ain't nobody ever done that in the history of Northwest. I said, you're right.
Okay.
I'm going to be the first.
Right.
So true enough, that was a prophecy that did come true as well.
Right.
You know, I was the first freshman. I didn't start varsity.
But you played.
But I played. You know, I was able to move up.
Right.
Yeah, but that's where it started. You know, we had some fierce battles. Shout out to Darren Busby.
Okay.
Yeah, he was another one, relentless.
Really?
He didn't miss.
Okay.
You know, Daryl Davis was another one.
Hey, that's my OG, Daryl Davis.
Yeah,
40.
Daryl Davis was another
Yeah.
one. You know, he'll give you 40 or 50.
Yeah. It can shoot that thing.
And he could really, really shoot.
Yes.
But my idol at that time growing up was Darren Fitzgerald, who you just had here.
Yeah, yeah.
And through his demonstration, I could see that, man, as a little guard, because during that time it was point guards pass first
Right,
and may have shot second or third.
right.
But Darren Fitzgerald shot first
Yes, he did.
and second,
Yeah.
and might give it to you a third time.
Right.
So just to sit up and watch him give him 50, at Butler, that just kind of changed the trajectory of how I looked at myself,
Right.
from a point guard position.
So did y'all hear that? He watched Darren Fitzgerald get him 50, and then he kind of seen that and was like, I can do that too. That's what it was like growing up in the 90s playing basketball. I couldn't imagine you having the social media that these kids got today.
NIL deals everywhere. We all be paid right now.
Hey, right now, y'all wouldn't even know us probably, because the money would have been spent. I ain't say made, the money would have been spent.
Most definitely.
Tell them.
Yes, sir. We used to have arguments about that. I remember it was some investigations going on where they was
Yeah.
talking about Chris Webber and them getting
Yeah,
money,
yeah,
Larry Johnson and them getting money.
yeah.
But I used to ask them, have you ever been to an arena?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about what the players had to go through? So you in an arena and it's 8,000 to 10,000 people in this arena and everybody got charged and they come in to watch the players.
Right.
And you mean to tell me we don't get nothing?
Hey, nothing.
Well, it looked like that they figured that part out by now.
Yeah.
You know.
But really, they knew that then.
Yeah, they did. They did.
Sure.
And they dangled education in front of me
Yes.
to say, this is why we get to keep that money.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
But if I'd have had the option, I'd have just owed financial aid money and paid me to play.
Exactly.
I let financial aid because I couldn't, go to college like that without financial aid.
Right.
So I would have took that and say, okay, you selling my jersey, let me get some.
I think that's only right.
I think it's fair.
Yes, sir.
So, but this is deeper than basketball.
Yes, sir.
We can talk, let's talk more a little bit about Ball State,
Yes, sir.
but I want to get into the life of it
Yes, sir.
and what got us here today. So, who was you playing with at Ball State? Who was on?
Okay, well, I'm gonna back up a little bit just to share how I even made it to Ball State.
Okay.
Because at that time,
Yeah.
Northwest, we really didn't. Shout out to Mr. Curry, he was our head coach.
Right.
But whenever Coach Brown came over there, he was more interested in networking with colleges. Before Coach Brown came over there, we didn't really have anybody that was really seriously networking with colleges. Colleges may send letters, but that letter may reach you, it may not.
Right, I understand.
So it was my senior year, we was playing against Arlington. And there was a lot of hype around Carl Reeder,
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
was how big he was. He was the player of the year, preseason player of the year in our area.
Yeah, y'all
Right.
senior year.
So it was a lot of hype around Carl Reeder. Well, keep in mind, me and Baker was talking about this. We had been giving it to everybody,
Yeah.
but we wasn't getting the necessary press that everybody else was getting.
Right.
So we was at Arlington in the city tournament, and Coach Drake, who was at Ball State at that time, he was coming down, recruiting for
Right.
Carl Reeder. So whenever they, after the game, I had 34.
Right.
We ended up beating Arlington, and so Coach
34.
Drake. Yeah, Coach Drake went back to Ball State, and then they asked him the story. They shared the story with me. They was like, so what did you think about Reeder? And Coach Drake said, I could hardly get acquainted with Reeder because there was a kid by the name of Whitehead that lit readers in them ass up.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
So they was like, okay, well, Whitehead, who's he? We really don't know anything about him. So go out and see him play the next game just to see if that was a fluke.
Right.
So long story short, they came to Tech, and we had played Hal, and I hit Hal for 44.
Say it again.
Yeah, I hit Hal for 44.
He hit Hal, Spotify and Facebook, 44.
Yes, sir. And then I was on Ball State's radar, to make a long story short.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So,
And you fell in the, I like that three-pointer skill to this day. Shot that three and fell into the crowd. That was, I mean, as a youngster watching that, I was like, oh my God, did he just do that? Yeah, I know y'all remember that.
I remember that. I remember.
hey, listen, I got memory.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of memories.
Yeah, I got memory.
A whole bunch.
So, how was your journey to Ball State? Like, once you got there?
Okay, so Dick Hunsaker, of course, he was the head coach. He recruited
Yeah.
me. And Proposition 48. You know, I didn't do well on the SAT test.
Hold on, because I'm going to reiterate
Like
that.
that, yeah.
Proposition 48 is kind of when you don't qualify, but when you just that good, they say you ain't got to go to junior college. You come in D1 right now, we're going to pay for it, but you got to come here now, but you got to sit out.
Yes, sir.
See, when you that good, you know you got something. Ain't no junior college. You coming straight D1. Now go ahead, I'm sorry.
And so, to make a long, I keep saying to make a long story short, because these stories can get long.
They
but,
can.
Of course, this is not a monologue. You know,
No.
it's somewhat of a dialogue.
Definitely.
Dick Hunsaker loved me.
Okay.
There's no doubt about it. You know, I was going to start under Dick Hunsaker.
Yeah.
Well, freshman year's up, come back sophomore year.
Right.
At the very beginning of our season, they made Dick resign. So when Dick resigned and they brought Ray McCallum in,
Oh.
you see,
Yeah.
you know what they want to do with all the players that Dick recruited, right?
Right.
They want to eventually get them out of there as well.
Right.
So that's what happened at Ball State. I kind of got caught up in the coach that recruited me being ousted, and then therefore the players that he recruited following shortly behind.
So, with that happening though, what did that make you see about life, and how life may play out through sports?
It showed me that a lot, but life is full of adversity,
Okay.
you know, and it also showed me that life was very unfair, you know, to be one of the best players on the team and then not get a chance to play was very discouraging. You know, I want to share a story. At Ball State, we played Eastern Michigan, and we played them on ESPN2.
Right.
And I'll never forget, Dick Vitale came down,
He did.
and it almost seemed surreal to be right there in the face of Dick Vitale. You know, we used to seeing Dickie V on ESPN,
Diaper Daddy.
and here he is right here in our face.
Right.
So inside I'm mad because I'm like, man, we going to play on ESPN, and I know I ain't going to get no playing time. So it was this one particular play, they called a timeout. I didn't even go to the huddle. I was like, man, I was that frustrated. I'm not encouraging any of the players that may be playing now to do that, but this is what happened. So Ray said, Whitehead, get in the game. Now keep in mind, he know I don't know what play to run because I wasn't even paying attention in the huddle.
Right.
So, but at the same time, I'd already had it in my mind, this is ESPN.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, this man really don't know me. I'm built for moments like this.
Yeah.
So when I was going over to the scores table, I had one thing in mind, and that's raise.
Yeah.
I'm shooting this thing.
Yeah. As soon as I get it.
You know, yes, it's because I
never know when the opportunity might
I
come.
never know when the opportunity going to rise again, and
Yeah.
I'm shooting it. And so my grandmother, rest in peace, Granny Bell, this was the only college game she ever came to. And when I was going to the scores table, I could see her. and she's looking at me.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, this is the ladies whose yard we tore up playing
Right.
basketball.
Right.
That's why I learned how to play basketball. So they put me in, and I played 6 minutes. I had 12 points. I was 4 for 4 from 3-point range.
Yeah. I
You
sound
know.
like Reggie, at the time, Reggie Whitehead, but Reggie Muhammad, that sound like you.
So you had a whole student section going crazy.
Right.
And I guess Ray must have knew, and I know if he ever hears this, he could bear witness to it.
Yeah.
He knew at that time we can't never try a stunt like that because this man's built for moments like
Like
this.
this. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. So he tried you and then it kind of,
And like they say, he effed around and found out.
yeah, found out.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And I love that. So, but while you was at Northwest, what was some of your accomplishments? What did you accomplish? For our city players out there, our Spotify listeners,
I was the Northwest all-time leading scorer.
yes,
They ended up retiring my jersey thanks to Mosey Barnes. You know, he was
Right.
the coach. You know, matter of fact,
yeah,
we was there with
we was
Mo.
there. Yes, we were. Yeah.
You know, but that was in 2009. He
Yeah.
ended up retiring my jersey. But you know, it was a lot of like individual accolades.
Yeah.
Single game all time. You know, 44 points.
Right.
You know, they was actually comparing me to Oscar Robertson, that was bigger than life.
That when you get that kind of comparison,
Yeah,
that's big.
that was too big for me.
Yeah.
You know, but it was like not since the days of Oscar Robertson, and I was like,
Right.
y'all done went over the top now.
Yeah.
But at that time, when they did the average of those 2 games, I was averaging like 38.5.
Right.
So that's what they was talking about as far as the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You used to have 80-point weekends. See, people don't understand it. In high school basketball, you could play a Friday night game and a Saturday night game.
Yes, sir.
So we used to count up the weekends. I used to think a 60-point weekend was the best. That means you could score 30 on Friday, then you turn around busting them for 30 on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
But you was hitting 44s and 42s.
Yeah, it's yeah, and we give all the credit belongs to God. You
No
know,
doubt.
You know, all the praise belongs to God. You know, for any of our skills, gifts, or talents.
Right.
But you know, like I said, I had some good people in front of me.
Right.
You know, I represent a community.
Right?
You know, when I would come to the games, it would be I wouldn't just be playing for me.
Right.
You know, matter of fact, they did a article in the Recorder. They said basketball is a family affair
Yeah.
for Reggie Whitehead because it was all about family and it was all about the hood. You see,
Right.
so I can't have all these people coming out to see me play and not put on a spectacular show. So that was always the
Okay.
burning drive in me. That
Right.
ain't no way you have people catching buses to come out there. You know, so
yeah.
so it's gonna be a show. We
Yes.
gonna give you what you came
Yes.
for. Right.
So it's fair to say in 1992, that was the best show in town.
One of the best shows. We will say that. Yes.
I'll let you do that.
Yes,
no
sir.
problem.
Yes, sir.
I'll let you do that. But I got something to show y'all because we're gonna go into this next thing.
Yeah, this right here.
Put that in front of the camera. Hey, if you get a chance, to my Facebook followers and my Spotify viewers, look at this picture closely and then I'm gonna tell you about it. All right, so I'm gonna introduce it, but this is how we gonna go. In that picture, all the black athletes had basketballs. One more time, show them. In that picture, all the black athletes had basketballs. But then when you look at the white players, they got books in their hands. That's kind of deep. I didn't recognize it, and I didn't notice it. But when you look at it, you got to say why.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, with that being said, after basketball, what led you on the path, or you found out your path How was that experience? And where did your path lead you to?
Yeah, it was a process leading up to. But at that time, in my neighborhood,
Yeah,
you know, my neighborhood was really popular for drugs.
yeah,
You know, and like Notorious Big said, and this was real life
real
in
one.
my mind. You know, where I come from, either you slang crack rock
Yeah.
or you got a wicked jump shot.
That's it.
These is the only two ways that you
Facts.
gonna get out of here.
Facts.
You know, you either gonna shoot your way, you know, or slang your way.
No doubt.
So at that time, it was a friend of mine, Jermaine Johnson.
Hey, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, bro.
Rest
To
in peace.
Jermaine Johnson.
My
Straight
neighbor
love.
across the street.
Straight love. Central,
39th
39th
and
and
Central.
Central.
Yes, sir.
Most definitely.
Rest in peace, Jermaine.
You know, when he ended up getting killed, you know, that was, I'll say, let me back up because it's a lot that we trying to put into this little small space, right? 2 weeks before I went to Ball State, I ended up getting shot right there on 38th and Capitol, and that was like a shock to me because, you know, people can talk all this bad stuff,
Yeah,
but if you ain't never looked down the barrel of a gun pointing at you,
right.
you don't know what you're gonna do in a scenario like
That's
that.
true. That's true.
You know, so that was like a near-death experience. If this was in today's society where they got
Yes.
switches on guns, I probably have been done.
Yeah,
You know, so going to Ball State, I had a shock going into Ball State. Like, you know, it's real out here.
yeah,
But when Jermaine got killed, and then I ended up losing another close friend of mine. People talk about my ball handling,
yeah.
but I would have never been able to handle the rock like I could if it wasn't for Duke, Kenny Mason.
Hey, everybody. Duke Kenny Mason was everybody's OG. He played. I watched him play at tag. That's how far back we were.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
He was a tab Laker,
Yes, he was.
and y'all,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was.
and that's what kind of put my boots on for his toughness.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he was really like that.
Hey,
You know,
he was really that.
Yeah, he was like that.
Yeah.
You know, and that was my partner. And so when he ended up getting killed, and then another one of my friends ended up getting killed, Dana Morgan. You know, he was like Larry Johnson back in the day.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
Sorry.
I knew.
Was my teammate.
yeah,
Yeah, most definitely. I knew at that time. I said, you know what? If you don't make some type of change, you next. You know. So it was a combination of things, but it was the loss of my friends. You know, brothers that I love genuinely.
right.
That kind of led me to the path of joining the Nation of Islam.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. So these were the circumstances surrounding my life. But of course, it was my brother. He used to always study with the world knows as Brother Nuri now.
right.
But they would be studying, you know, reading the message to the black man. And at that time, I wasn't trying to hear it because I'm like,
Yeah.
they some social misfits, but they talking about the white man, but this white man taking care of me. He's,
Right.
you know, he paying for my school. You know, it was
Yeah.
looking sweet at that time. But it wasn't until, you know, the dilemma happened where they sent me out of the university and got rid of my coach,
Right.
that I seen a whole nother side. So that was the beginning of me.
Okay.
You know, back in, I think it was in 1995. My brother Stevie, he went to the Million Man March,
Right.
and and whenever, you know, he went to the Million Man March. Of course, I didn't make it at the time, but I was thinking to myself like everybody else was thinking, oh, this is gonna be a bloodbath. You talking about you got Crips and Bloods,
Yeah.
Vice Lords, Disciples.
Y'all hear that?
You know, you got people from the East Coast, the West Coast.
Yeah.
Oh, this probably going to be a bloodbath.
Right.
You know, but when that event turned out to be the most peaceful event in the history of North America, I could see now that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was more than, you know, what I knew up until that point.
Right. Okay.
You know, so that was the beginning of my journey toward the nation.
Okay. Well, see, I think people need to hear it because life is definitely bigger than basketball.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
And when the ball stopped bouncing, Life still goes on.
Still go on.
You have kids, you got a family, you got to pay these bills.
Yes, sir.
But then most of all, you got to keep your head.
Most definitely.
Especially when basketball is all you did every day of your life. And that was your way out. A lot of y'all that's not athletes, I don't expect you to really to understand that. But when you prepare for something your whole life, and then all of a sudden it's over,
That's tough.
what you gonna do?
That's tough.
It's tough.
That's tough.
Yeah, do what you gotta do. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, you gonna adapt. You gonna adapt if you really want to make it in life. You gonna adapt,
Right.
change for the better,
Yeah,
and make like every last person sitting at this table.
Yeah.
We made better choices for ourselves and for our family.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's why we're sitting at this table, as we sit here and dialogue with each other, and hopefully teach and reach some of the youth out here.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
so you know why I got them both in here, and we're gonna segue over to my man over here. But man, did y'all ever play against each other, or did y'all play with each other?
Both.
Y'all got some, what we gonna talk about?
How we didn't play
Against
with each other.
y'all didn't.
We played against each other.
Tell them they, I want them to really hear you.
This guy right here.
Okay.
Like, he was something that you had to prepare for all week.
Yeah.
That I made it my mission is that this week I don't care how many points I get.
Right.
He's not getting 20 on me.
Yeah. That's Indianapolis.
But y'all hear him getting all 40.
Yeah.
All this. It was my whole thing. He's not doing this to me.
Yeah.
But see, because we had a relationship outside of school ball.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, we ate
Yeah.
bologna sandwich, fritters, and stuff. You know, we shared that together.
Can I say that again? Hey, y'all don't know nothing about pork fritters, beef fritters, chicken fritters,
Bologna with the red
bologna
string.
sandwiches where you gotta take the red tape off of them.
Yes, sir.
But
Yeah.
we did that together and still had to play against each other. And you heard what he said. What you say? He wasn't gonna do that to you.
Nah, he wasn't gonna do that.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, you know, it's like, people don't know, he talked about Duke, but
Right.
Duke was a mentor to me too.
That's right.
Duke brought the small ball to him, he gave the small ball to me.
Yes, sir.
Look, this is how you work on your handles. See, I didn't get to know Reggie or watch Reggie play when I was young, but his buddies played with me.
Yes,
his
sir.
school teammates, Jerry O and them. So J.O., all they used to talk about, Reggie did this, Reggie did this.
Right.
I didn't get to see it, but I got to hear it. So that's what I put in my game too.
Right.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So that's when so like, when we played this guy, we played him. He had just come off that 44-point game y'all talking about. He just come off that 44-point game you're talking about.
Right.
Man, he come out in the first 2 minutes and scored their first 10 points. First 2 minutes.
It was at Northwest.
At
It
Northwest.
was at Northwest.
Yeah.
I said, okay,
Okay.
ain't no scoring tonight.
Yeah.
Ain't no scoring tonight. I gotta stop this cat
Right.
all night long. And that's what it was all about. But just sitting up here listening to his story, right? And I'm sitting up here like, damn, how he picked me to go behind this? But now we ready to get a different side.
Right.
You know, a whole different side. That was, that was pretty. I got a little bit of darker side.
Right.
We all experienced it together too.
Yes,
Right.
sir. Yes, sir.
It's my brother right here.
Yeah, you
Okay.
already know.
Yeah.
So,
You know?
so when we break into that, like, let's talk about it, man. For these youngsters to hear, and for these youngsters not to do it, just how I break it up.
That's what my story is for.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
My story.
They need to hear it.
My story is for them.
Right. Right.
That's-
So before, because we got a documentary coming on it, but I want, man, kind of talk. Tell these young boys, just a little something. Let them know what not to do or what to do.
like with me, man,
Right.
first and foremost, like, everybody want to know what happened with me.
Right.
What happened with me? Damn, why you walk away? Because I didn't play ball. See, these stories that you talking about.
Right.
See, I had to go up against him. I didn't get to play my senior year
Right.
because
Wow.
I dropped out of school.
Yes, sir.
You know, and everybody want to know why. I had so much going for me. This was my best friend.
Yeah.
And you know, I lived in his house
Yeah.
during my freshman and sophomore school year. I had a bedroom in his room.
Right.
You know what I mean? We used to get into it in practice.
Yeah.
And I used to have to find my way over to this man's house. That's how tight we are. You know what I mean?
And y'all gotta
it's
hear
kinda
this.
like,
Y'all need to really hear this.
You know, I can get lost telling this story, man, because, you know, I don't. You've been asking me to give it to him for years.
Yes.
But, you know, it's sad, but it's something people need to hear.
It's real though.
You know, it's kind of like he know where I come from.
Yes.
They used him to get me.
Right.
I
Right.
used to bring him to my 8th grade games.
Mhm.
And he used to, hey, man, me and you. And we did that.
Yes, sir.
We did that on another level.
Yeah.
You said we broke history.
We did.
We broke history.
We did.
That's right.
You know, wasn't no freshman starting varsity in 1989.
No.
Nope.
No.
They got a taste. They wasn't starting.
No freshmen was starting in 89 and 90 in Indianapolis.
No.
No freshmen was starting.
That's right.
Nah, we got to do that.
And they did that.
So,
That was the goal though.
Oh, all day. Varsity was the goal.
Varsity was the goal.
you know, man, but people want to know, man, like, with me,
Yeah. Wow.
it was all about the company that I kept.
Okay.
You know, I had friends that tried to stir me away from
Right.
the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But man, hey, I had an itch, and it was sad, and it's sad to say, and we all have it.
Yeah.
I just I didn't know I had the support. I just ran away. I wanted, you know, something different. I didn't have money.
Right.
My family, you know, me and my mother and my sister, you know, we didn't have anything. So I wanted those things, and the only way I could get them
That's right.
in my brain.
Right.
I could ask for them. I was tired of doing it. So I made the wrong decision. Started hanging with the wrong people.
Right.
Yes, sir.
That's the main thing. It's all about the company that you keep.
Gotcha.
The people, places, and things. It's the most important thing, man.
So if y'all can't hear him out there, like he said, it's the company that you keep that may dictate how things go.
And then I want to say something. The company that I kept, man, they weren't bad.
Right.
Like, they didn't tell me to do bad things. They influenced me to do the opposite things
Right.
that I end up doing. Like, so I'm not very bad ball the people that I hung with.
Right.
You know, they
Right.
took care of us.
Exactly.
They directed us to do different things and stuff.
Right.
But hey, you know, we wanted something different.
Yeah.
I wanted something different. You know, and just going back looking at certain one thing my uncles them used to tell me,
Yeah.
hey man, the same people and the same thing is gonna be out here. So take care of your business, man.
Yes, sir.
Come back and help it, be a solution to the problem.
Yes, sir.
Don't be the problem. And I didn't listen. So, you know,
Yeah.
made a wrong decision, man, when I turned 18. See, I've never been in trouble a day in my life.
Right.
Been in juvenile, I ain't never been in back with police car until I went to prison.
Yeah.
And I know that messed all y'all come with. All y'all came at me. You
Yeah.
would chase me down. Hey, big man, look at this.
Yes, sir.
Stacy Fields.
Yeah.
My big brother.
Yes, sir.
What's up, Stacy?
Hey, man, he came and got me. Hey, man, do you see what you doing to yourself, man? Look at what you're doing to yourself. Look at what you wasted.
Yeah.
Look at what you're throwing away. You're the first and only person that really just tracked me down, man, and just shook me and made me understand, because I didn't know.
Right.
Like, the stuff that he's telling me, I didn't know this stuff. I wasn't paying attention to none of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's kind of like now, to fast forward these times, man, I got a young son,
Yeah.
an older son, that I was still living within myself, that I wasn't able to share these things with him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the biggest loss out of all of this. You know? Like, I'm just now getting it together. I'm 51 years old. I just started calling myself a grown man when I was 44.
That's real.
Yeah.
Nice.
See, now I'm telling a whole different style of story. We ain't talking about basketball.
No, not at all.
You know, we talking about life.
Yes, sir. So, but I got a story to share though, because it took my life in a different path. So I was like 15 years old, going into my junior year. It was a man named Coach Lavelle that really took me under his wing. Rest in peace to him. And they took me to Vegas. I'm the youngest person on their team. I'm the only young person on that team.
JT.
Yeah.
JT.
So, but really, I'd have never got to go. And my mother's probably watching, and she remembered the story of Mr. Lavelle coming to my house at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Saying, we finna go to Vegas. And my mother only had probably, and she'll tell you, she probably had $60 or $40 to send me. And he was like, I don't know why he said it, because I didn't know this. He's like, he don't need nothing. But what I found out was another kid that was my age was like, go pick him up. I got him. There's another kid, 1 year or 2 years older than me. Say, go get him. I got him. And gave me $400 so I could eat in Vegas.
Ran out of money. Got you some more.
I ran out of money. True story. He made a phone call and we got some more money. But
Done.
I went from dude, you know dude,
Yeah.
then I became JT.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Evolution.
Every college was on me after that.
Do you know when I remember that, man? When I remember me doing that for you?
Yeah,
Remember when I brought Josh to
Yeah.
you worked my son out, right?
yeah,
I went to pain. I said, man, I can't take that from you, man.
yeah.
You remember what you did for me, man?
You wasn't
I
even
ain't-
thinking about it.
They don't remember that morning. Because this was my little guy. He was young, but he
Yeah.
was my little guy. And at this time, I was doing wrong things.
Yes, sir.
Still playing basketball. I was doing wrong things, but we get there, and my only thought was, man, I know that little dude at home crying.
Yeah.
All his buddies get ready to go to Vegas, Las Vegas, and he can't go.
Come on, man.
Hey, man, let's go and get that little guy, man.
That's real love.
Yeah.
Let's go and get that
That's
little
real
guy,
love.
man.
Yeah.
Tell his mama I got it.
Yeah.
That's real love.
True story.
Hey, man,
I ain't
Alex.
put no juice on it. How old was you?
17.
17. I was 15. I was 15 years old.
17.
Hey, and I probably would have never got a chance to experience that. And that's a true story.
Yes, sir.
That really happened.
Facts.
That really happened. We all had bald heads.
Hey, we did.
Hold on.
I'm still bald.
Hey, we all went bald because it was 96 degrees at 7 in the morning.
Hot is hot. Hot.
It's the truth out there.
Hot.
Yeah.
That dry heat, boy. Don't. Hey,
Yeah.
No joke.
And then we brought that back to Broadway before we started wearing bald heads and headbands. True story.
Man, but you know, like, for me, like we had Fitzgerald in here, right? right?
Yeah.
All right, now see, let me tell you. See, he was like, this is how we, you know, like Fitzgerald was his guy.
Right.
I had a guy by the name of Greg Cheatham.
Greg
Rest
Cheatham.
in peace.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Greg Cheatham. And you gotta, like him and Fitzgerald, hands down. Fitzgerald might have been a better shooter than him,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say so. And I still wouldn't admit it to this day.
Right.
Fitz know him. They used to battle. They used to put on shows
Right.
at Douglas before the Dust Bowl went to Washington Park.
Right.
You know what I mean? See, I come up from neighborhood Nemo.
Right.
Yeah.
Nemo.
Barnes,
Mosey Barnes, what's happening,
you
baby?
know,
We here.
and see, like, we gotta get on here, bro.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even be no Dust Bowl legends without talking about Magic and Bones.
Who? Say that name loud.
Magic and Bones.
Bones. Yep.
Okay.
Totally, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You can't talk about it. See, that's who made me.
Right.
My uncles, man, on that court, everybody used to be like, man, why you act so, man, why you so hard on this court? Y'all don't know what I had to go up through.
That's right.
Sunday through Thursday.
Yeah.
See, so on Friday and Saturday, I had to go play with my peers then.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to get y'all this business for, you know, all these scars on my legs and all these scars on my elbows come from getting pushed down on that basketball court.
That's right.
You know, these kids now, I tell them, you know, I must see how much you love the game if you get some scars on your knees and get on back up and play, whether or not you see. I got back up and went at them when I had tears in my eyes.
Right.
You know, I had tears in my eyes. I would go back and admit, you know, the game was like, it was all we had in each other. 96% of us didn't have no dad.
Not at all.
That's real.
So all we had was each other, like we were sitting there talking about, man. You know, like we talking about sharing bologna sandwiches. That was all at another teammate's house.
That's
Yeah.
for real.
That was all at another teammate's house, and we know we gonna go get something to eat at.
Shout out to J.O.
Shout out to J.O. Misso. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, man. Well, I talked to you earlier, and you said, man, I'm just hungry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Most
You
definitely.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be, and I had to hit him back with like, man, you don't, how humble do you think I am to be called on a night like tonight with you and Fitz? My eyes will drop out.
So
Still went to college.
I was about to say, yeah.
You know,
Tell them.
that's another story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
College came and got me out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
That's how cold I was.
So hold on. Let me
That's how cold I was.
Real talk.
let me restate that for the public. So we got it here. When you really good, they come get you and send you to college regardless. And then when you're really good and you made mistakes, they go to the penitentiary and say, I got a scholarship for you. Now that's being talented. That's what's good. That's good.
Yes, sir.
Not being able to have, and I ain't knocking nobody, not at all. But when things are perfect, you're supposed to get certain situations.
Right.
But when you get it out the mud, it just means
Hit
something.
a little different.
It's just different.
Yes, sir.
When all the stacks, the chips are stacked against
Yes.
you,
Mm-hmm.
and you still go get it.
It's called heart and
And I'm through, I'm
fortitude.
sorry.
Heart and fortitude, brother.
Yes, sir.
And like, college came and got me
No doubt.
out of prison.
Right.
Damon Parks.
That's my
R.I.P.
rest in peace to Damon Park.
He was my bunkie. I mean, see how we talk?
Yep.
He was my roommate
Yes, sir.
in college. I was in college right before basketball season started. The coach let me come home.
Right.
Had 2 kids born when I was in prison. You know. And so I used that to come home. He let me come home. He said, hey man, go home, man. You got a week.
Right.
You got a week, go home, go home. You got a week, come on, go home. Me and my buddies, Damon Parks, Andy Moore, Justin Puckett.
I know all of them, yeah.
You know what I mean? It was my roommates. All those were roommates.
Right.
I said, Baker, don't go home. Don't go home. We got school, work, everything taken care of. Man, don't go home. Andy said, hey, man, everybody I know go home, don't make it back. I said, shit, man, I'm making it back.
Right.
Come on back. Went. Ain't nobody seen me play basketball since my junior year.
Right.
It was a basketball tournament just this weekend. Corey had his little tournaments,
Yeah.
his tournaments, had a basketball tournament just this weekend playing. Okay, I'm gonna play. I ain't nobody seen me play in 3 years. So here it is. I'm getting ready to play. Man, it's wall to wall. I come in here, give him 50.
Yeah.
Easy. Give him 50 easy. Something happened, transpired. Don't go back to school. You know what I mean? End up not going back to school. I ended up shooting somebody that night. One of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my life. And don't go back to school. You know? So, go back to prison. But
Yeah.
I had it all wrapped in one. You know, after I lost everything, so I was back in school. See, back in school. Chico, James Gilbert, a lot of guys, man, vouched for me to get in
Right.
school, man.
Yeah.
Andre Owens. A lot of guys vouched for me to get back in school, man. You know?
So, hey, man. Hey.
Deep
come
story.
back, man. And make this mistake. So people looking at me now, I'm in this wheelchair, it's really fast forward and shit. I mean, now, I was in a coma for 23 days, man. You
In
know,
a coma for 23 days.
So when I woke up, man, out this coma, man, my dad looked at me and said, damn, son, look like you ain't got a spike bone in your body. I knew when I woke up, Reggie, it ain't had shit to do with me no more.
Yeah.
Now I can remember, now I can recall when my mom was telling me, you selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Shit ain't great work for you, man. You selfish. I ain't get what she was thinking about, because if you know me, I give a person a shirt off my back, but I ain't get what she was saying.
Right.
Exactly.
I had Tony, Brandy, and Justin at home. I wouldn't put their life first. I was still living for me.
Right.
See, I didn't get this shit, bro, until this shit happened to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? That, you know, so when I start putting myself together, you know, when I start putting my family first, my kids first, shit like that, I told you this shit like 7, 8 years ago. See, I was still acting bad. See, I still didn't want to get it, man, when this shit first happened. You know, even though I knew that me waking up, you know, it wasn't about me no more. It was all about me, man.
Right.
Helping somebody else. But
Yeah.
then, like, y'all been trying to get me to speak to kids and shit. And I'm just like, damn, man, they want me to talk to kids, and I ain't even got it together with my own kids. You know what I mean?
That's
Or,
real.
you know,
That's real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real.
so, you know, man, that's...
So, hey, we touched on it, but the documentary is going to tell the whole story. But I wanted the people listening to know y'all in the presence of legends, still relevant today.
The one thing I want to say, man, for every time from 14 years old to now, no matter what you did, you always told me the right thing to do. Every
Yes.
time, no matter what, anything going on, whatever, from high school, 13, 14 years old till today. When we pulled up at the living room, we chopped it up for about an hour in the car, man, from 13 till today, bro. You wouldn't let me, you know what I'm saying, do nothing wrong. You always, no matter what, you always was like, look, man, I love you, and then you let me have it.
Hey, real story.
And tell me the real, man, and I love you and I appreciate you for that, brother. Always, I mean, always, man. Even when I got something, whatever on my mind, you like, hold on. You'll listen to me, and then you give me the real. That's
Like I said, man, I'm just now getting at that shit. I'm like a, don't take this wrong, man. I'm like a Jesus type of figure. It's like when he's like, Father, why me? And that's how it is right now, and I'm cool with that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. But see, now I just need Josh to get this shit.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just need Josh to get this shit. I need my little grandson, the junior,
Yeah.
to understand this shit.
Yes,
You
sir.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Little Woody, and Eli. See, I got a big family, man. I got 5 girls and 4 boys.
Right.
5 grandkids, man.
Yes.
And I'm gonna tell you, man, I get off on making them proud of me, man.
Yes, sir.
That's what
Yeah.
my mother was saying
Right.
about me being selfish.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know
I'm
what I
with you.
mean? So now, man, like, everybody look at me and think I'm doing, yeah, shit, I get my shit remembered.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Put them first.
Right.
And that's what it's all about for me, man, making my mother proud, man. At 51, nigga, I'm still
sir.
trying to accomplish these goals. We knew guys at 51, man, them dudes had their shit together. Look at my brother out here, bro. You know how many times in school, man, we tried to, hey, man,
Yeah.
talking about since we've been grown.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
A real friend.
Spaces, man. Spaces. Ain't nothing I can say. Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing man. Just
Hey, like I said,
real
you let
talk.
the people tell me.
Yeah,
hold on,
real
though,
talk.
but look,
real talk.
you can't, I ain't been shy to let this dude know, hey, dude, man, I need you more than you do.
Yes, sir.
Man, look at this shit, man. You know what I mean? This shit,
Hey, that's what we're here for. Iron sharpen iron. Hey, that's what my brother
This
told
guy,
me.
You better believe it.
What you tell me? Iron sharpens
All
iron.
right, that's right.
And that's what we always
like,
need.
man, like, I want to say, like, shout out to Low Max.
Yeah, shout out to Lomax.
Shout out to James Lomax.
Low,
What's up, Low?
You
Low.
know,
Yeah.
like, I told y'all when I went to college,
Yeah.
him and another guy by the name of Mike Scam.
Yeah,
Dudes made sure, them dudes made sure, man, that I got out.
Yeah.
Even though that college came and got me out of prison, them dudes made sure I got out.
Right.
And they made sure I went to school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
That's real.
And so when I called Lomax to come get me from school, hey man, my coach said I can come home.
Yeah.
Come get me. Hey, don't call this phone talking about come get me. It wouldn't come and get me. Called wouldn't come and get me. I had to call some friends that I knew
We'll come and get you.
would come and get me. They didn't know that everything I had going on.
Right.
I had some buddies. Shout out to these guys. We used to, the guys that slept on their couch too.
Yeah.
Jason Roney.
Yeah.
Hey man, come get me. He didn't know what all Beck had going on.
No,
Right.
by far.
If he all would have knew, he wouldn't have came and got me either. Came and got me.
Gotcha.
Didn't make it back to school. And it's so, it's kind of like, man, my son asked me, he was about 15, he said, damn, that's all he hears is, all y'all say, hey, your dad, she wants to make it to the pros. She wants to make it to the pros. Boom, boom, boom. He asked me one day, he said, damn, Dad, how you feel about that? Did that, you don't ever be sad, they don't make, I said, it used to. Till I found out, bro, that shit wasn't even never about me. You know what I mean? See, I was supposed to go through all this shit, bro. That's why I'm still standing here right now. See, I still see I got a lot of motherfuckers that shit I've been going through that broke them down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like 80, 90% of motherfuckers I've been through, they broke down. Ain't the same. I ain't handled prison the same. See, I was supposed to go through it all. Mm-hmm. See, that's what motherfuckers just don't really want to get. Like, no, babe, you had it, you was supposed to. Man, it wasn't my story. Mm-hmm. See, I was supposed to go through all this shit.
Yeah.
Because it was like for me to have this shit that I didn't have to give to my son. Right?
Yeah. Most definitely.
It was never about me.
Right.
I told him, I said, man, I used to get sad, bro. Until I realized that this shit wasn't about me, man. It was about me going through all this shit
Yeah.
so I could have all this shit to get it, you know.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
real.
mean?
That's real.
It was never about me. I was just a sacrifice. This shit's a blueprint. And my son, bless his heart, man, he's a great dad.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
And, you know,
Shout out to
credit-
Justice.
shout out to Justice.
Now,
Shout out to
Justin's
his
my
mom.
little dude.
Yeah, ain't no doubt
You know what
about
I
it.
mean? And I'm talking about like we like, you know, that's my best friend. Actually. You know, and I swear to God, I look up to him.
Oh yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. That's what
Hey,
we're
look,
supposed to do. Ain't
hey,
nothing
I'm
wrong with
still following. I'm following my son, man.
that. Come on, man.
Hey, I'm gonna say something somebody told me. Hear me out though. You gotta hear this. The only man that wants you to ever to be better than him
It's your father.
is your father.
Father, all day.
Real talk.
That's the only man in the everybody else is competition. The only man in the world that really wants you to be better than him is your father. So
I agree.
when you said that story, that's what it made me think of instantly.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, y'all, I think it might be our time.
Sometimes, oh man, it's easy.
See, I can do this for 2 more hours. This is therapy. This is therapy. Hey, don't worry, you know I'm gonna bring everybody back. But you will see tonight Facebook is the energy version. So you can really feel it. You can really feel it. Spotify. We like it. JT.
So see, when I left Purdue, I was supposed to go to South Florida with Lee Rose, but my daughter was just a year old, so I went to UIndy with Kellen. Worst thing I ever did. But yeah, I remember that's why he stayed home because of you and your mom and your grandmother. Better get out of here.